welcome back to the Remarkably Loved Business. I'm your host, Lindsay Shelton. Today, I have the privilege of speaking with Dev Patnaik. He is the CEO and founder at Jump Associates, a leading innovation and strategy firm. He's an advisor to senior leaders at Fortune 500 companies. And he's also the author of the book Wired to Care and professor of Needfinding at Stanford University. Let's see how Dev can help us in our quest for remarkable customer love.
Excellent.
So this series is our quest to find the secret sauce for remarkable customer love. We're trying to figure out how to evolve from a good company to a great company, from goodness to greatness. And we're excited to have you on. So far, we've touched on the importance of listening to the customer and how to do it better. The importance of having a personable brand that's detailed enough that someone wants to connect with. And the motivating power of customer storytelling, especially in terms of creating unity and purpose and driving your team. We touched on Chip Bell's sprinkle effect, which is how to innovate your top ROI offer. And we touched on building a customer profile so that you can orient all your marketing towards that. And then I just wrapped up an interview with Miss Cheryl Mobley, and we talked about how leadership has a cascading effect on your team and your customers' experience. So I am curious to hear your thoughts, sir, on what should businesses start doing today to shift that relationship that they have with their customers that, they could maybe do in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, it's a good time to get going on stuff because I think we've all been hunkered down for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And it's too easy to just kind of say, okay, I'm going to curl up in the back of the cave and ride out the ice age, right? But the ice is melting. It's time to get out there. Some people are going to pick up their spears and go hunt woolly mammoths again. Other people are going to realize that woolly mammoths don't exist anymore, and they're going to go invent farming, right? And so you need to and we're at this magical moment in time, Lindsay. I mean, if you just stop and just think about it for a second, right? Mm-hmm. Right now we're in the middle of February, right? So it's February 23rd. Mm-hmm. Go back exactly a year. If you asked me, Dave, right, on February 23rd, 2020, if you asked me, what are the odds that in a month and a half, 4 billion people, a majority of the human species, will be under voluntary house arrest? I'm like, that's never going to happen. Right? Crazy. I was wrong, right? Turns out I was completely wrong. It turns out that things can change. And we've been saying for years, you need to be future focused. You need to think ahead of the game. You need to think down the road. And in fact, if you didn't learn that lesson in the last year, God help you. I don't know what else can teach you the importance of being future focused in that way. Yeah. So there's so much that we've learned in the last year about this, right? If you think about it, there's a lot of companies that were just in difficult straits, over the last year. It's just, if you're in the hotel business,
yeah,
that's a hard business, right, to be in, right? And then there's others that have done really great, like my buddies at Target, tearing it up. It turns out we all need toilet paper, and it turns out we can't go to restaurants, so we're buying a lot more food, right? And so they're doing really well because of that.
Yeah.
But if there's any pattern to this that you see, it's that the people who've done really, really well in the last year are kind of they are the benefactors of really smart decisions that either they or their predecessors made 3 years before, 5 years before. Like they laid the seeds of something really great. And so that when everything collapsed in the last year, they had those things to rely on.
Yeah.
Right? And so it begs the question, so what are all the things that I'm going to want to have had happen in 5 years? That 5 years from now, I'm going to say, I wish I had done that then, right? And get started on that. And that's, I think, where you have to go. And I think customer love is a huge part of it, right? There's probably two big things that we need to do. Right? One is it's an outside in thing, which is we really have to get customer centered. That whole idea of customer centricity to bring the
Yeah.
outside world in, critical. And you would
Mm-hmm.
think that in 2021 that would not be a new idea for people. And if it's not a new idea, then too many folks still haven't done it.
Yeah.
And the other thing is an inside out idea, which is really activating your sense of purpose, really
Mm-hmm.
figuring out why you even deserve to exist. Right? And so both those things, customer centricity and purpose activation, are the seeds you ought to be doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because you're going to wish you had it in 3 years, 4 years. Because
Yeah. Well, and it's the perfect time because everyone has been deprived of connection and we really want it. And so what better time to be empathetic and have an amazing experience than right now? Like it's going to matter more than ever.
That's exactly right. It was like 12 years ago that I wrote that book, Wired to Care, which was all about widespread empathy. And at the time, that was insane. People were like, what? Empathy
Right.
in business? That just seemed
Yeah.
like such a weird kind of thing. And thankfully, fortunately, for most of the kind of the leading edge of companies out there, the folks that we really admire that are out there in the world, they get it. They say, like, no, I need to have a culture where everybody internally has an intuitive vibe for the people we're serving outside our walls. And not just in marketing, but in finance, HR, legal, manufacturing, across the board. Everybody gets who those people are. So that and as I wrote in that book 12 years ago, that a company like Nike, right, is not a bunch of just kind of shoe salesmen. They're a bunch of athletes who happen to make shoes. So
right.
even if the market research isn't so good, the shoe ends up being great nonetheless because they all have that natural intuition for what it's like to be a runner or an athlete.
Yeah, and what it means for their means for their customers to experience that product and how important that product is to them.
That's
and
right.
Their experience of being an athlete.
And you don't need to do a giant program for that. You could do that now. You could do that in the next 24 hours, right? And go talk to someone. You could do it on Zoom if you're in a place where you don't want to get too close, right? But you could just pick up the phone and call a customer and don't sell them anything. Just ask them, how are you doing? What's going on with you? Like, what's top of mind with you? If you're a restaurant owner, right, who dines in your restaurant, and actually calling one of them at their house and say, hey, how you doing? Right?
Are you sure in this day and age, someone's going to call me, I'm going to be like, what? What do you call me?
Absolutely. At first, don't expect to be met with anything besides skepticism. Right? This is something I remember that
really, you just want to chat.
Yeah, I mean, the CEO of Pizza Hut said this years ago, right? He used to call up customers because he had their numbers from the coupons that they were using and stuff. And he'd say, hey, I'm the CEO of Pizza Hut. I'm calling you to thank you. And at first, most of them would just hang up the phone. He's like, no, I really am. And I'm just calling you to say that, like, we really appreciate your ordering pizza from us. And if there's anything I can do to help out, I want to be there for you, right? And it turns out that more often than not, the person they were talking to would start just getting tears, just break down, and right? Because you know what? A lot of the people who are buying Pizza Hut, they're single moms and they're buying pizzas with coupons because it's an easy way to give their family a complete dinner where they feel like they've actually eaten a sit-down meal. It doesn't feel like food. And to actually have the CEO of Pizza Hut call and say, hey, I really appreciate it, and if I can help you out, it fundamentally changes the relationship between customers and the company that's ostensibly built to serve them.
They will always buy from Pizza Hut forever.
Pick up the phone. Talk to someone.
Yeah.
And if you can build that into a habit, so that everybody inside of your company is naturally curious about what's going on outside the walls and who these people are, they'll just make smarter decisions over time because they'll notice stuff. They'll figure out what's going on that other people don't learn until we read about it in the Wall Street Journal, and by then it's too late.
what about like, I'm thinking of Pizza Hut, right? And someone just puts in like a crazy big order. What
Yeah.
about just like having a curiosity call? They were like, dang, that's a lot of pizza. What were you guys doing? We just wanted to see how you were and what you're up to and why you need so much pizza in your life, because that's fascinating.
I think, listen, that's what we're seeing out there in the world now. I mean, like the Pizza Hut stuff we're talking about, that's, we're talking about 10, 20 years ago. Now, the real relationships are even deeper than that. We work with a company that I just love called Shipt, and Shipt does grocery delivery to your home. Right? And the entire culture is built around building those real kind of authentic connections. And your Shipt shopper is different from any kind of normal kind of gig worker kind of thing who's doing grocery delivery. And we have stories of folks who, you just ordered in your grocery delivery, you ordered a little bit of, Robitussin, and you also ordered, like some Kleenexes. And so that when you got your Shipt delivery, the shopper also bought you a balloon that says "Get well soon" on it. Right? That's a different kind of relationship that they're building. And it's one with deep empathy for their members, for the people that they serve.
Yeah. So does that mean that to have a program like that, for instance, that you need to have like an empathy budget?
See, honestly, you already have this budget anyway, where you're already spending it on stuff today. You just need to spend it on things that actually have a payoff for you, that are not wasteful. So it's not more money; it's just better directed money, right? I mean, we're spending money on market research today, right?
Yep.
But how much of that market research is actually being used to improve the quality of decision making and improve the level of empathy inside the organization? Or is it just, yet another tracking study to tell you something that you already knew?
Yeah, because an employee that is empowered to buy a balloon on a whim, and that takes an emotional investment for them. They're excited to deliver that to their customer, and then their customer receives it in an extra special way. So
yeah,
it's for two groups of people.
My Shipt shopper, we are friends now. Like, we see each other a couple of times a week, and we talk when she drops off the groceries, right? I know when her birthday is. Right? Yeah, it's very sweet, like just that kind of deeper connection, right? And so you're not trying to discount the membership subscription for me because you're going to get me to stay. That's that's not building a relationship. That's trying to treat me like a pet.
Oh, I have a whole too little too late about that. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And it's exactly. So we're not, we're not doing things for just pure simple transaction reasons. We're doing it for that greater connection. Right?
Yeah.
Which brings you to the other side of it, which is, so once you're connected, what do you actually stand for? Like, why are you doing this? Like, what is the greater cause? Right?
Purpose.
Right, purpose. Because here's the other thing, right? No surprise. People aren't just buying things anymore. They're buying into things, right? You want to be part of something greater than yourself. And that's more than just a standard company mission statement. We will be the most desired employer, blah, 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 blah. No, we're in it for a greater cause, right?
Yeah.
And that greater cause is unique to every company. It has to be something larger than yourself, right?
Yeah.
And part of that, right? We worked with Starbucks and Howard Schultz at Starbucks, right? He's told me that whole idea of nurturing and inspiring the human spirit, right? That's what drives them. That's what they care about. The coffee is just a vehicle for that cause, right? And what's fascinating is if you listen to the customer service calls at Starbucks, right? And I've had a chance to kind of listen. When something went wrong, so somebody called Starbucks, they sound different than your average customer service call, right? They're not like, I was treated poorly, I demand a free latte. It's not. They sound like AM radio chatter on a Monday morning after your home team lost a game. You're like, people are just disappointed. You're like, come on, man, you're Starbucks. We should be better than this. Like, they're rooting for you, right? And so the disappointment is not one of, because they're in it with you. They're your cause.
I see what you're saying.
Right? It's a different experience.
Right. We have to change this for us.
We have to change this for us, right? I mean, like, the numbers, you remember it was like a few years ago that like Apple came out with a series of laptops and they were all like lighting on fire. They're just like terrible. And like all the chatter online was like, yeah, these are terrible. I can't wait for the new machine to come out. You know, that's an interesting customer. You know,
Yeah.
just like the one you bought lit on fire, so you're gonna buy another one. Like,
Yeah, which I mean, it's just like this huge customer journey at this point. Like you have built up such an incredible amount of trust,
yes.
and rapport that they know that this is just like a blip. Like they trust and are forgiving of your mistakes. They trust that you're going to take care of it, and they're going to be there with their $2,000 for the next one.
That's right, and the data is incontrovertible. We've seen studies again and again and again, which is yes, companies will find that their customers will stand by them, right? And they have greater loyalty, but they'll also ride it out with you when you make mistakes, right? Because it's not just about you, and it's not just about them. It's about this greater purpose. We're all in it for that greater reason.
I'm thinking about a call that I've gotten from Comcast. It's a internet service and television provider out here. And I'm just now, from what you've said, connecting the dots of what they have done in an effort. So they call and they say, hey, we were just reviewing your plan and there's a cheaper plan. Do you want it?
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm like, hell yeah, I want that plan. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
And then I want to buy from them again. I never want to leave them because I know that they're going to take care of my money. Dang, that's smart.
They're looking out for you a little bit. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, so that's just another example of reaching out.
There's a very there's a big difference between these kind of truly purpose-driven companies, right? Starbucks and Whole Foods and Chipotle and even Google, right, are just very different from like the standard companies that came up in the 20th century. And so again, pandemic's ending, the ice is melting. Start thinking about why should you exist? What is your bigger cause? Why do you matter?
Yeah.
And how do you connect to that in a tangible way, like what you just experienced with your cable company?
Yeah, and so how can I translate that to my customer experience? How can I, make a team that feels purpose-driven and excited and empathetic, and just ready to deliver the best service ever?
Yeah, and what you may discover, the more purpose-driven you are, and the more customer-centered you are, is you'll realize like not every customer is the right customer for you. Right? And that's okay. Colleen Barrett, who was CEO of Southwest Airlines, has a great story she tells about the founder of Southwest, a guy named Kurt Kelleher, and because their offices were right next to each other. And someone wrote in a complaint letter about Southwest Airlines. And you've been on Southwest, right? And it's kind of fun, and the flight attendant makes a lot of jokes, and that's the Southwest culture. And someone wrote this letter in that this is in their early days, saying this was inappropriate, everybody was really jokey, you people have no formality, you're like, this is not the way to ride an airline, right? And her Jersey Colleen says like, here, I'll respond to that one. Takes the letter and just handwrites on the bottom of the thing like, dear so and so, we'll miss you, her. Right? It's like, and it's not that we don't care about our customers, but if you're looking for something different, we're not the folks for you.
I know, but Delta would love to have you.
I'm sure Delta would love to have
you. Oh man. Okay, so first we're gonna get closer to our customers by calling them up, having some other excuse to call them up. Maybe
get outside and actually talk to them and listen to them and see what's going on in their lives, and don't sell to them. Just listen and actually demonstrate that you actually care.
Yep. And then second, we want to develop purpose within our organization and our teams, and communicate that to our customers so that they're not just buying something, they're buying into something.
That's right. Get outside and then get inside and figure out why you're doing this. Workout is too hard. There's got to be some reason why you do the job that you do, why I do the job that I do. Like, what is that really, that bigger why? And if I can get to that and articulate it, right?
There's more to success than money.
More to success than money. So what is that reason for you? Articulate it, put it up on the wall, and live by it.
That's right. And wake up every day excited to be at work and excited to work with the people that you do and excited to serve the customers that you do.
That's right. That's right. And look, I mean, Lindsay, the last year has been hard, okay? Not every day is great. Some of the last, what is the technical term? Some of the last year has sucked, right?
A little bit. Yeah.
A little bit. So how do you get through this? How do you make it through? It's those two things. Number one is there's a greater cause, there's a bigger why. That's why I said it's a purpose. Yeah. And there's a greater connection to all the people who are counting on me, all my customers out there in the world.
Yeah, it's a reframing.
That's it.
What am I grateful for?
Yeah, what am I grateful for? Why have I been given the chance to do this?
Ooh, why do I get to do this today?
Why do I get to do this? Not everyone gets to do this. Why do I get to do this?
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. This is a great conversation.
Hey guys, that was Dev Patnaik. He is the CEO and founder of Jump Associates. It's a strategy and innovation firm with offices in both California and New York. They help create new businesses and reinvent new ones. If you'd like to learn more about them, you can go to jumpassociates.com. I'd love to know where you stand after listening to this episode. What are the things that you invested in 3 years ago that came in really handy in the last year? What do you wish you had invested in 3 years ago that you could have really used in the last year? And my third question is, what are you going to build this year that you'll be able to benefit from 3 years from now? So fill out the survey. Let me know how this landed for you. Give me some answers to those questions. I would be grateful. I love the picture that he paints of looking both outward towards your customers and inward toward your purpose. I don't know if you see a trend in some of this advice, but I certainly am seeing a trend. When we say we want to improve the customer connection, it really comes down to talking to your customers much more than perhaps you've been accustomed to. So it's super basic, but it's as basic as breathing. And sometimes we have to be reminded to breathe, in times of stress or worldwide pandemic. Breathe, talk to your customers. So your baby step for today is to call up another customer. Maybe they made an unusual order. Maybe they're your most consistent customer. Maybe they were just the last person to walk out the door. Either way, thank them for being a customer. Let them know how much their business means to you and means to your team. In the coming weeks, look inward. Get crystal clear about your purpose, your company's purpose. Dave said it best when he said, people aren't just buying things anymore. They're buying into things. Why should I allocate my limited buying power to your cause? There are many other services. There are many other products out there. So why you? This can be a super difficult question to answer. For sure, it seems very ambiguous. And so if you're not clear, we've included the exercises that we provide in Brand Lab on purpose in particular. It's a series of questions that they were created to just pull out the purpose from you in a way that is easier than maybe you think it is. So hope that you enjoyed them. That's all for today. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Remarkably Loved Business. I'm your host, Lindsay Shelton.